I've got a 9-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. And, one of the things that I'm struggling with is with my own anxiety and ADHD throughout my life, I can now start to see those traits really emerging in my 9-year-old daughter. And one of the things that I struggle with is how do I enable her to see those as a thing, like more of like a superpower? Like that's how I always describe it with her, is like, because my brain can process so much bigger and faster and stronger than others around me, because I've learned how to kind of like, figure that out. And, I've done well in my career because of it and things like that. But what I find is that when my brain is going crazy and she's having that same moment, I do one of two things. And I've heard you talk about this in the past. Like I either retreat and go mow the lawn and get away and abandon my wife in that moment while she's going nuts, like my daughter, or I react and I become angry. And like, I just find myself feeling so guilty after that moment of like the outburst. And I know that I can identify it as like, my brain's going crazy at the same time her brain is, and we just clash.
You're not going to like my answer.
Go for it.
Is that cool? Are we same team here, man? Good gosh, you sound exactly like me. Same team?
Yeah.
All right. Have you heard me tell a story about my daughter and the hugging?
Yeah. So like we actually started to do some of that stuff of the whole like, hey, I'm going to make this super uncomfortable for you and hug you. But then she's like, oh, it's weird. So I'm like, and I'm doing the whole like, I don't know, like, the stuffed animal thing I heard on a show a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, let's try that. And she's like, Dad, that's cringe, man. I'm like, well, that's okay.
All right. So here's the backstory to that. I think I've told it a few times, but my big dark dirty secret here was this show took off out from under me, and it became a top 10, top 5 show. I think it was number 3 one week. Like it was going bananas. And at home, my daughter wouldn't hug me, and it made me nutty. It broke my heart. I didn't know what to do, and I knew it wasn't right, and I didn't know how to fix it, and I tried everything. And my wife one day, she's very wise, and she's like a walking Xanax, and so I'm super grateful for her, beyond measure. But she said, has it ever occurred to you that my daughter's 9 too, but at the time I think she was 6, that tiny little body of hers wants desperately to be connected with her dad, but it feels you as unsafe. And that broke my heart. And I actually got kind of mad. I was like, dude, I'm not unsafe. I don't swear in this house. I never yell. I don't hit my kids. And my wife said, no, you're an amazing dad, but we all can feel the nuclear reactor in your chest. And I called a local therapist in kind of a temper tantrum. And I walked in and said, evidently, my family can feel the fact that I'm not safe to be around, even though my actions suggest otherwise. And that started a 6-month unpacking of some nightmarish stuff that happened to me when I was a kid. Some stuff I experienced, some stuff I saw. And it wasn't until about 6 to 9 months later that I was doing something. And I remember the words popped out of my mouth, Josephine, which is my daughter's name, get off of me. And then I started laughing. And then I got choked up. And I said, no, don't. And then here I am 3 years later. Last night, my daughter finished dinner and she got up, climbed out of her seat, climbed up over my chair and draped herself over my back just to absorb peace. And so my answer to you is, which is hard, is when you have a kid that's reactive and you see them doing the ADHD things, you see them wanting to retreat, or you see them kind of exploding, is children absorb tension in the house. And that means as a parent, it's my responsibility to go find peace from the inside out. So I would ask you, what are the things as a kid, what are the things in your middle school, high school years when you felt so trapped that rage was the only way out? Rage is trapped anger. Take me back to moments when you felt completely powerless as a little one. All right, I've been telling you about Cozy Earth for a long time now. Cozy Earth has so many products that my family and I love because Cozy Earth gives you the kind of comfort that makes coming home a reason to drop your shoulders and even celebrate. All of Cozy Earth's gear is breathable and cozy, just like the name says. And as always, Cozy Earth stands by their products. You can check them out, you can try them out, and if you don't love them, you can return them hassle-free. Go to cozyearth.com/Delony and use code Delony for an incredible offer just for my audience. Take me back to moments when you felt completely powerless as a little one.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, I'm a middle child.
Me too. Yeah.
And like middle child, and I was I played the sports. Oh, they all played the sports. Everybody played the sports. Everybody was great at sports, and I was okay. And I was like the academic guy who's like, that's where like now it's like I've got the better career than all of them, but like nobody cared about that because it was that like sports is the thing we do, and we're really good at it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here too, guys. So I'd be the one that kind of tags along. So I think there's a little bit of that, of like that performance mentality of like, I just have to prove myself another way. And like, look, I made it. And then like, again, it's the seeking that validation, right? Of just like, hey, just like no one has ever said like, hey man, like you're doing great. You know what I mean? So it's, there's a lot of that I've been working through.
How are you working through that?
Yeah.
I had one of my practicum advisors, who's a savant psychologist. He's brilliant, but I remember him saying, "Hey, John, straight A's can be a trauma response too."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that just echoing through me as I was working on my second PhD.
Yeah, so part of it is one, like just like physical health for me has helped because one, I was overweight because I was doing the typical, like I'm sitting at my desk all day, like cranking out and like, look, I made this career move and like, look, I'm all the way at the top now. And it's like you get here, and I've heard you talk about this some too in the past of like, I got here and I'm like, wow, this doesn't feel like what I thought it was going to feel like. I didn't.
Yeah, Dad didn't call.
I didn't make anything.
Dad didn't call.
Now I have like I have nothing to like. There's nothing else to climb toward. Like I'm at the top now, and it's just like, okay, like now what do I do? And I, started to think like, well, it's really impacting my physical health. And so I've now like I've lost about 65 pounds, like just being, better with what I eat and doing exercise. And that's really helped a lot of a couple of different things, but also like I can now, get involved in my kids' activities and sports better. Like I feel better, being involved with them a lot more, and I can, play more with them. So there's a lot of that.
Hold on, brother.
Yep.
Will you sit with me for a second?
Sure.
I want you to rewind what you just told me. As a middle child, I was raising my hand saying, does anybody see me too? And the answer was no. And so you worked really hard in school. Does anybody see me now? Look at your brother playing whatever. Look at your sister on the soccer field. Whatever. Like, so then an internal engine said, I'll show you. And you did. And here's my guess. I'm gonna shoot my shot here. Tell me if I'm wrong. You married over your head. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. I'll show you guys. And you marry somebody who people will be like, I can't believe she's with you. She's probably brilliant, probably hilarious, probably beautiful, probably all three. Fair?
Yep.
And still, when you looked you in the mirror, there you were. And so then you went and got this career, and there you were. And then you got to the top, and there you were. And then you gave yourself yet another finish line. I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. And you did.
Yep, and now I struggle with body dysmorphia, and it's just like I'm at that point where
I know,
like,
but the next
man, I lost all this weight, and there's nothing here.
Because you keep showing up because you won't deal with the nightmare that's inside your chest. And I'm telling you, you got to trust me on this, brother. Your next finish line, I just heard it, is I'm going to be the super present dad at all these things. And you're freaking doing it. And it's awesome. And every morning you wake up and go brush your teeth. There you are in the mirror again. And you don't like that guy.
Yeah, it's just more tired because I've added 3 things now I'm trying to juggle, as
yeah, but that fatigue comes from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired of giving yourself yet another marathon that you white knuckle your way through because you're really strong. Your internal engine is powerful and strong because it had to be. Because you got the message at a very young age, nobody wants to see you. Move, please. Your brother's on the soccer field. And until you address that kid, You're going to find another one, and then they're going to see your heart attack from space. Or you're going to get really tired, and this is me being stone honest with you. Somebody at your office, she's going to text you and say, that joke you had in the meeting today, nobody caught it. I heard it. It was hilarious. And that's going to feel so good. Somebody sees me. And then you're going to think about putting another joke in the next meeting to see if she catches it, and she's going to catch that one. And then you're going to go grab coffee, and then you're going to do something that you never thought you would do. That's the trajectory. This constant move of another finish line and another finish line, another finish line always ends in ash. Always does. And that's what I need you to hear me say, man. You're worth just stopping the race. You're worth loving you, my man. Do you hear what I'm saying? Does that resonate?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, this is, it's the constant, searching for the thing. And, honestly, that's how I ended up finding, your podcast to begin with is how do I, you have that weird millennial man, I'll just power through this. I'll listen to a few podcasts and
yes.
Work on it intentionally, be better. And it's at what point does my, ADHD addiction tendency of being amazing at that thing become myself, right? I think that's ultimately where I'm starting to land. And it's scary, right? Because it's now I have to be really vulnerable with someone else.
That's it. ADHD is a context, not an excuse.
Yep.
ADHD inside of a well person who knows in their being that they are loved, dramatically decreases. That's just science. Number 2, becomes an unfathomable superpower. Because you can do things, you can feel things, you can show up for people in ways, you can get projects done on a dime, and you as a salesperson can see somebody and feel them in a powerful, profound way. But if you're feeling them and trying to solve their problems because somewhere inside there's a 9-year-old saying, maybe they'll see me now, they're going to move the line and move the line and move the line until your heart explodes. But a well person, my anxiousness didn't just go away, but the alarm shut off. My ADHD and OCD stuff, man, the symptomology of it is way reduced, but it's still there. And now it's a force for good. It's not a force for avoidance and powering through. You get the difference?
Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing. And that comes from you sitting down with somebody and sharing stuff from the inside out. Because here's the truth. I'll be willing to bet being completely honest about stuff that happened to you when you were young is nightmarish. And there may even be stuff that your wife doesn't know of 20 years, doesn't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
For sure. Because you bury it all the way down there and say, I'm going to act like this didn't happen because this is the perception that I've wanted to create.
And let me say this as clear as I possibly can. Secrets will kill you. And worse, I'm going to throw some gasoline on it. Our kids can't reach inside of our chest to get to know that secret. They think that electricity is because of them. And they will do every damn thing they can to try to fix it. And that's not their job. If you think of it, you may have heard me say that if you think of it like bricks in a backpack, it's either I'm going to do the work with my counselor and my vulnerability and be open and honest with my wife about things that happened to me when I was a kid that she didn't even know. I'm going to deal with that. About the dishonesty that's maybe been in our marriage that I've never been open and honest about and deal with the consequences. I'm going to live a life where I've got no more bricks in there, or it's like taking off a backpack full of bricks and handing it to our kids and saying, you know what, y'all carry that. I made a whole bunch of money. I set you up good. You deal with that. And I guess, brother, I just need you to tell me, hear me say, I love you enough to tell you you're worth walking through life without anything in your backpack, man. Because life's going to put crap in there. Your mom's going to get sick. One of your kids is going to have a problem. Life is going to put enough stuff in there, dude. Carrying around secrets about worth and value and things that happen to you and things you've done. It's too exhausting of a way to live, man.
Yeah, I think that's the hope that I'm looking at right now, is like just like feeling free, right? It's like I want my chest to match like what my brain aspires.
My
right?
man,
It's just
there you go. There you go.
Like it would be like I keep visualizing that. That's what I keep striving for right now as I'm listening through this, and like
stop striving.
The stuff I'm working on is like
stop striving. Stop. Yeah. I want you to do what I told the previous caller to do. I want you to imagine 12-year-old you who just got a 97 and dad goes, "Whoa, would 100 would have killed you?" And dad just walks on. I want you to picture that kid, or the kid who's always kind of running behind because we're always going to brother or sister's games or whatever. And I want you to write that kid a letter. I want you to tell that kid you're sorry that he was unseen, he was unknown, he was uncelebrated. Because every kid needs to be seen and known and celebrated. And then I want you to write down, get it out of your body onto a piece of paper. And if you're like me, kind of paranoid, most ADHD people I know, most anxious people I know are, write it out. Here's some of the things that happened to me. Here's all the things. And then if you're like me, I started with a counselor before I sat down with my wife. But that's going to be for you. Whoever you want to talk to. Grief demands a witness. You're going to have to grieve these things. You're going to have to share these things. You have to learn some tools about breathing. You're going to have to learn some tools about letting your first response, as Jefferson says, be your breath, not yelling. Your first response be leaning forward towards your wife or towards your daughter, not running to the yard. It's going to be getting a couple of male friends, some dudes that you hang out with once a week. Those are the things that will heal your body from the inside out. So that a faith practice that you can surrender to and say, "Dear God, thank you for loving me in these moments when I don't feel lovable." And you anchor in. Whew. Just hear me say, brother, you're worth being loved, my man. Hang on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of Building a Non-Anxious Life, and I want you to use that as a roadmap. But I also want you to write that letter today by yourself, door shut, spiral notebook. And then I want you to make a call to a counselor and say, "I'm ready to heal some of this dark, dark stuff. I'm ready to open the box. No more secrets. I'm not carrying that crap anymore." And I can almost guarantee you, 5 months, 6 months, you're going to find yourself doing something, and that 6-year-old daughter of yours is going to be 6 or 7, and she's going to be jumping on you. And you're going to smile and be like, "Ah, this is what well feels like."